about to decide in a single individual. That, of course, will be announced tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A little bit of drama to all of that. To the Heritage Action Executive Director, Tim Chapman, who is set to advise the president then after that nominee is picked. And that's a crucial role to play. So, Tim, once we have a name and a candidate, obviously, people have been poring over exhaustively that list of 25, and then when it was whittled down to 5 and then 4, and these individuals that are getting all the focus right now. So how do you deal with that process?
I mean, this administration is going through every candidate with a fine-tooth comb. The good news is that they've done most of the hard legwork already. I mean, they were talking about this before he was even the nominee. He worked with the Heritage Foundation, with the Federalist Society as a candidate, worked up a list that had over 24 names on it. All 24 of those names have been vetted by the campaign at the time, by the legal folks who have been advising the president. And so he's done all that. Now he's just really trying to find the exact right person to have this rollout be perfect so that we can get this done as quickly as possible.
I know Mitch McConnell was concerned about finding someone who would create a less amount of dust-up, I guess, but you're going to have that regardless. But Mitch McConnell, we are told, was particularly looking at Raymond Ketledge and also Judge Hardiman, Thomas Hardiman.
Right.
The reason being what?
The reason being that McConnell wants this process to be as smooth as possible. I think McConnell, though, if you were to talk to him, would very much agree that any of the candidates on this final 4 list are completely confirmable and excellent in character and in temperament as judges. He probably is just looking at who he thinks is the easiest to get through, so he's given those 2 names, but he'll go to bat for whoever the president puts up.
Then how does your job get explained here? I mean, when you have any one of these candidates placed before the American people, and more to a divided Senate, we're looking at Amy Coney Barrett, for example. The controversy with her, she's too pro-life, too Catholic. You've heard all of that. If she were the president's choice, that's one example here. How do you position that? Because it's all about positioning, all about explaining, right?
Sure. I mean, so what this is about, whether it's Barrett or any of the others, the central issue is going to be the same. When you put an originalist or a conservative on this court, what is going to happen is the court is going to take a different approach to these high-profile, really controversial cases than it has in the past. What the court's going to do under this new majority will say, we are going to remand these kinds of controversies to the states and to legislatures. So no matter who it is, what's going to happen is that the conversation is going to be had at a more local level, and that is better for a democracy. It's better for this republic, and it really is the kind of way that we should bring the heat down in this entire conversation. These decisions shouldn't happen in the Supreme Court, in the chamber there. They should be happening amongst the American people as we talk with each other.
Yeah, well, good luck on that, Tim. But I do want to get your take on how this will ultimately go down. I was semi-joking with my producers before the show that I see this, you know, going almost to script, that despite the drama about introductions and the Senate visits as the candidate, you know, makes his or her way, meeting with all the individual members, but you're still going to get most, if not all, Democrats opposed, with the possible exceptions of those up for re-election in big red Trump states. That might be Joe Donnelly or Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota or Joe Manchin in West Virginia. But you're also likely to get no votes from Susan Collins and maybe Lisa Murkowski of Maine and Alaska, respectively. And I think when all the drama is said and done, that's how it's going to sort out. And I hope I'm wrong on that, because it's such a predictable fallout. But what do you think of that?
Sure. I mean, I'm not ready to write off any Republican. I think Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins will ask very tough questions about precedent, and they'll want to know how judges will rule in cases. I think judges are going to be able to say that they have a very healthy respect for court precedent and will take that into due consideration. I certainly think that it's very reasonable to think that some of these red state Democrats will have enough pressure on them to cross over. I mean, when you look at the states that these folks are running for re-election in, these states are overwhelmingly backing Donald Trump, and these states have overwhelmingly, when you look at the exit polls from 2016, one of the major issues was the Supreme Court. And so I think if you nominate somebody who can defend themselves and go out there and present well, I think it puts a lot of them in a tough bind. I mean, you look at a state. Forget some of the ones that everyone talks about. Just look at a state like Pennsylvania. Not a lot of people are even talking about Pennsylvania right now. But Pennsylvania, say you put up someone like Hardiman, who's from Pennsylvania. And there are a lot of pro-life Catholics in Pennsylvania who voted for Casey because they think he's pro-life. But what's going to happen, you know? And it's on the social issues as well. All of these issues that the left has tried to force up to the Supreme Court, like these are issues that are not necessarily things people want decided at that level. We want to talk about these at local levels with our fellow citizens.
All right. You're going to have your work cut out for you, young man. Tim Chapman, always good seeing you. Thank you very much. Again, the president will be announcing this a little after 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight.